This is my 2021 holiday planner. I love this. Let me show you this. This is the Graphic 45 Traveler's Journal. If you've never seen a Traveler's Journal, they're made so you can remove the signatures. By the way, these are called signatures, so when I talk about those today, that's what we'll be talking about, okay? These guys are so cool. Watch this. This one is my calendar section. We're going to be making this today. This is my calendar section. This one is my shopping list section. So all of my shopping lists and all of my tabs are in that one. And this one is my addresses. Okay. I want to show you this. Let's say you go to the store and you're going to go shopping, or you're at your computer doing some online shopping. Just take out your little shopping book, and you don't have to keep the rest of it with you, so you can throw this in your purse or whatever. Super, super cool. Okay, so in your paper pack, here's what's important today. You need to find the page that you want to be the main cover of your album. You see here, this one is black and white, and then I have a little stripe on the side. Don't stress about the stripe. That'll kind of happen. But you want to find the main page. Remember how I tell you always pull that one out first? You don't want to get started and then go, oh, I wanted to use that on my cover, and then you didn't have it available. I'm not sure. I want to try to use one I did not use because I made 5. All right, now what I want you to do is pull out your calendar PDFs. Now, let me tell you, these are PDFs, which means we have a link for you. So in the future, you'll be able to use these again. And here's what I meant by this book can be multiple years, okay? I'm going to start with my calendar signature. This guy, today, right now, we're going to start making our October, November, and December page, okay? That's the only 3 we're putting in here. You have all of this left to come back and do 2 or 3 more years in here, okay? So if you don't write in here, you save this for future years, the free PDF that we have for you, and we have it in multiple places. We have it on the Facebook group. We can probably put a link to it in this chat. We also have it on the product page for this album, and I think we have it on the product page for the stamp set.
It's on the product page for the stamp set. I know.
Okay. So we have that. It'll be available to you. You can just go grab it. And we could probably put it in our printables.
It's in the printables on the website.
Okay. Perfect. Pay attention to this. This is extremely important. You will mess up and derail yourself if you're not listening to me right now. That's about the best I can do to get you to listen. Do you see how this piece is all squares? And this piece is 3 squares and a block. This is important. When we go to cut this out, you want this all squares, and you want to leave that block on. Don't cut it off. Let's look at it again. All squares, include the block. Now I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to show you some tips for cutting it, okay? But that's important. This calendar is a tall calendar, not a sideways calendar, so it's important that you see this. Before you cut, listen to me. Before you cut, watch me cut one, okay? Here's what I'm going to do first. Do you see that this block is right here? I want to show you a tip. Anytime you have what I call a floating PDF, means this image floats in the middle of the page, take it to your trimmer and put it where you think your cut line is. You're not going to know exactly. Just put it where you think your cut line is. You're going to take your blade, and every blade is going to have a guide showing you where your cut lines are, okay? I'm going to use that guide to line up on the PDF line I need to cut. So I'm using the guide for where my blade is on my trimmer. I'm going to sink that blade in, and then I'm going to go up and down. And that's going to get me my first cut, which is the hardest cut because it floats, okay? The second cut is easier because now I can lay it in my trimmer, and I can now line up at the top here. I can now line up where my cut is. Okay, so I'm going to cut that one. Now you see what I'm doing here. I'm cutting around the blocks, but this is why you got to watch me before you do it. I'll show you in just a second. If you're not careful when you get to this point, you will think you need to go back and cut this one, but you don't. This is your notes section. This is the block we want to keep, okay? So let me cut this one. I'm going to cut them apart in the middle, same thing, and cut this one apart just like this. Then I'm going to lay these out and show them to you. You guys got to trust me. This is where you'll get confused, okay? This is what you are cutting out. Leave your notes section attached. We are going to remove our signatures. Remember I told you these are called signatures. I want us to take these out. This is my cover. We're not going to do it right now. We'll put it aside. We're going to look at our signatures. Now, you have 3 different signatures. This is what I want you to listen to. What makes them different is this one is plain. This one is lined. Oh, my focus. This one has lines. And this one has grids. See the grid? There's a grid in there. This we're not working with. Put the grid aside. We will, but not right now. We also don't want the lined page. That is for shopping. We want the blank page. Okay? Just open the cover. And then I want you to turn one page. Just like this. And that's how I get us on the same page. Isn't that funny? Come on, that's funny. That's how we get on the same page. So we're fixing to put our first month in right here. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to take your full block page. Let me do it before you do it. Trust me on this. Let me do it before you do it. I want you to take your full block page, okay, and flip it over, and we're going to add glue to the back. Now, we're going to put this on the page sort of like we would a card mat, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to put the glue here, and I'm going to place this a little low to the bottom. So I want to leave about the same distance all the way around at the bottom. Got a lot of glue on that one. So I'll show you what I mean. Do you see how I'm going low at the top? I want to leave room for my months and my days of the week up here. Okay, so I'm going low at the bottom, and I'm going to leave roughly the same distance here, here, and here. So this will just happen. If you move it down, it'll just happen. All right. On the other side, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to put some glue, and we're going to line it up the very same way on the page. But this time, we're going to make sure that notes bar that we were so meticulous about, this bar is on the right-hand side, and we're doing the same thing. We're going to roughly line it up with the other one at the top and at the bottom like this. That should make easy sense. Go for it. You want to put in all 3 of them. So that's October. When I get October in, I'm going to flip the page and do November exactly the same. And then December. All right, let's put this guy aside. We're just going to sit him aside for a second. We're going to get out our ledger paper. This is your calendar page. We're going to be working with the bottom of the calendar page. The reason for that is I want to save this if you want to use it somewhere else. So rather than just cutting this thing up willy-nilly, I have a method to my madness. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom. So I want you to take this page out, and I want you to turn it to where the numbers are facing you. So you see here I have the calendar numbers closest to me. That's what I want you to do. And the very first thing we're going to do, let me bring this up so we can chat about it. There we go. We are going to cut these strips to our advantage. Some of them we're going to cut as single strips, and some of them we're going to cut as double strips. So this is why you need to pay attention to me, okay? The first thing I want to do is I want to cut this bottom strip that has no number in it away, completely off. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this onto our trimmer and line that line up and cut it away. Now, I'm not going to throw it away. Not going to throw it away. I could probably use this somewhere. We're not going to use it today. It's too thin for what we want, but you might use it somewhere else. So just put that strip away. Now what I want us to do is I want us to cut 31 and 30 away. Let me do it, then you do it. So I'm going to cut 30 just like I did that bottom strip. And I'm going to save this because I am going to use this. So I'm going to set that one aside. And then I want us to cut 30. And I'm going to save it and set that one aside. Okay? So then what we're going to do.
2 singles, 1 double.
Okay. 2 singles, 1 double. So then let me do it and then you do it. Then I'm going to cut a double strip that has 28 and 29. Okay? So you got 28 and 29 is cut together. 30 is cut single, 31 is cut single. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to sit your double strip aside and let's work on our single strips. Okay, I'm going to tell you like I did in class. Your numbers are on the left-hand side, but what I want you to do is turn these around so that they're on the right-hand side. They should hang out of your trimmer. And see how I'm stacking these on top of each other? I'm going to do that so I can cut once and get everything I need. Right. Okay. These guys laid on top of each other, and I want you to cut them at 3 1/2. And I have mine stacked up on top of each other. So we're going to cut them at 3.5 inches. So what you'll get is 2 3.5-inch strips, just like this. Then I want you to do that again and again with the same strip, okay? So I'm going to lift this up with them lined up together. I'm going to move them down to 3.5. I'm going to cut that again, and that will get me 2 more pieces, okay? And I'm going to cut that again. Now, this is very specific with this paper pack, okay? This won't be if you're doing this yourself. You may not have this paper pack. If that's the case, just find some paper you like and cut yourself some strips for stamping on. That's all this is, strips for stamping on, okay? Now, I should end up with 6 3.5-inch pieces and 2 pieces that say 31 and 30. Now, I told everybody in class, we're not using these pieces that are 31 and 30, but you might not want to get rid of them because if later you want to come back and use the consecutive numbers, you'll have them, okay? Because, you know, we cut them from the page. Now, this one's super, super easy, okay? This is your double strip. Okay, so there's all these vertical lines going up and down like this. We're going to cut every one of those, all right? On the first one where the number is, it's a double line. I just want to cut that whole thing away. Let me do it. I'm going to cut on the second line of that one. So I just want to cut the numbers away. And you can, it's not that big of a deal, but I just cut the numbers and one line away. Then I'm leaving myself this strip. And here's what I'm doing. I'm going through and I'm cutting them on every vertical line and making these little double strip pieces. These are going to be our tabs in our shopping book. That's what we're going to use these for. So in the future, if you want more tabs, if you save this piece, you can use it to make even more tabs. I just thought they were neat how they kind of made it for us, kind of made it happen. So when you cut that down, you should end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 longer ones and one little tiny one that's got some white lines on it. That's what you have to do first. You have to glue your strips in where they go, and I'll show you. These strips live right at the top of your calendar pages, and the reason you have to do this now is because if you don't, you won't know where to stamp. And I'm just going to run through here and glue this down. And remember, it does not matter their pattern. The pattern that's on the green makes no difference. We're stamping over that like it doesn't exist. We're pretending that these are solid green strips. So you can see here now, I have my green strips here, my green strips here, and my green strips here, okay? So this stamp set is made for holiday planner only. It has October, November, December. That's the only months it has on it, okay? At the top, this top kind of paragraph section, it gives you sections for your shopping book. So stuff like thank you card, not necessarily your shopping book, but your notebook. Thank you cards, grocery list, charitable giving, online purchases, gift shopping list, addresses, budget, expenses, card list, activities, gift ideas. Here you're going to see time, date, email, name, etc., etc. And then right here, if you get to the middle, you'll see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to use those plus the word that says notes, okay? I'm just showing you that ahead of time. Then these guys are for other things I'll show you as we go, all right? So I'm going to pull these out, and I'm going to start with the days of the week. I'm a Sunday starter. I don't know why. It's just how a week looks to me, Sunday to Saturday, okay? If you want yours Monday to Sunday, you can do that as well, okay? So I'm going to start with Sunday. So I'm going to put Sunday on my block, and I'm even going to use a teeny block. I don't want to use these yet. Use a teeny little block. I'm going to go to my ink, and I'm going to stamp Sunday right above that first block, just like that. I'm going to flip the page and keep doing that. Rather than doing each month individually, I'm going to run through like this and do each page. See that? That way, I take Sunday off my block and I can move on. All right? So there is Sunday done. I'm going to wipe it off and then put it back on my stamp set and grab Monday, which is Monday. And you want to just run through and right above every one, do the day. So while I've got it here, I'm going to pull October off, put it on my block, and go ahead and stamp it. And what I did was I just stamped it right above Sunday, but you could put it anywhere. You could put it in the center of the page, wherever you wanted. I just kind of liked it up there at the top like that. So you can go ahead and put your months on too, and then we can move on. I'm going to transition. I'm going to put this signature aside. I don't need it anymore. And I want to pull out my signature that is lines. Okay, I'm going to start stamping. I'm going to tell you about this. When you're stamping your tabs, it's very important that you do this. Because of the way the tabs lay, I'm going to put my, I'm going to go with charitable giving first. I'm going to put that on my block, okay? I want to stamp it where I'm reading it on the line closest to me. Now listen, because if you don't, you'll mess up. Do not stamp in the center of this. This is going to fold and become a tab, okay? So you want to stamp it under the middle line and closest to you. So charitable giving, I'm going to stamp it under the middle line and closest to me. If you want to stamp front and back, if you want to stamp both sides, you're going to need to turn this around and stamp it like this. If you don't, it won't be legible on both sides. There's my charitable giving done. Now I'm going to do the next one, which I'm going to do thank you cards. Go ahead and start stamping just like this, stamping the bottom of the line closest to you. Thank you cards. Let me go ahead and show you this too, just so you'll know why this makes, so it'll make sense. We're going to fold this in half. Okay. So this is why we're doing it like we are. And I didn't score it or anything. I just folded it in half, and then I took my bone folder and I creased it down really tight. Because if it's not even, it is not going to matter in the grand scheme of things because it's going to sandwich around the paper. You're not going to be able to tell that. Okay? So that's why we're stamping them closest to us, just so you'll know. All right, so go ahead and stamp your categories. Okay, tabs. To the tabs, Batman. Take out your line signature book. Choose the one you want to be your first one. I want mine to be my gift shopping list. Open your little tab up. Take some glue. I'm using art glitter glue. Put a strip on both sides. This side and this side. And then all you're going to do, I lined my tab up with the first line of the paper. So I just placed this on here, dropped it down to where the first line was, and glued that down. That does not matter. That's just where I ended up. Then just press this down. You will have to hold it for a second because, like I said, this is paper, and it's cardstock, and cardstock has some resistance, so that can happen. You know what I'm saying? It can pop open. So there's my first one. I'm going to skip some pages, whatever I think I need. That feels pretty good. Now on your next one, if you need to, you can count lines and all that. I don't need all that. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hold this page up right here. It feels like two. It's not. I'm going to get my next one, and I'm going to sandwich it just to kind of give an idea for where I'm going. And I'm just kind of going next to that one. Now, you guys are probably like, but Maymay, these tabs don't stick out of the page. They don't, and there's a reason for that. Here's the reason for my madness. Remember how I told you could take this signature out and put it in your purse? I didn't want the tabs to stick out because I have done that before, like put one of my books in my backpack or something, and then my tabs get all ripped and torn in the bag. So I didn't want to do that. So these are flush. So when I put this in my purse, they won't get torn away or ripped. And this paper is a little gentle, so you really don't want that to happen. All right, so then you're going to keep going with your next tab. And if you didn't do as many as me, it won't take you as long. All right, that's all we have to do here is these tabs. That's it. We finally get to do some fun stuff. I'm ready for the fun stuff. So you got your calendar signature, your tab signature. In your gridded signature, you're going to use the lines from your stamp set to make yourself address lines. You really don't have to. You can just use the grid lines and write on them. But I just used the word addresses, and then I did stamp, skip 3 squares, stamp, skip 3 squares, stamp, skip 3 squares, and just do that as many times as you need it, okay? All right, it's time for paper. Let's get excited. Yay. All right. Let me take out a signature because I want to show you what we're doing. We're going to do some easy stuff. Let's do some not thinking stuff real quick. Do you see the striped paper right here? I'm going to flip this over. The striped paper. I want you to pay attention to me for a second. Do you see that your book has this angled cut? See that angle? Okay. This paper is only going to go to that angle, but it's going to cover all the way around. I'm going to give you the measurement in a minute, but I want to show you this because this is what people ask about a lot, okay? But here's the deal. When I give you this measurement, it's going to cover 3 sides, and it's going to leave you this gap. Now, somebody's going to ask me, I bet, because this is confusing if you don't understand what I'm saying, but to that angle is as far as we're going. Striped on here. Now, look, you don't have to use the stripe. You can use any of them. I use plaid here. and I used red here. It's probably best to see on the back. I used plaid here. I used red here. So you want to pick out 3 pages, but you're gonna need to cut 6 pieces that are 4 by 8 1/4. 6 pieces, 4 by 8 1/4. Okay. So you're gonna cut 4 1/4. That's 3. And then I'm going to cut 4 1/4 again, and that's another 3.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it's not 4 1/4, it's 4. Don't do 4 1/4. I did, but do 4. So you need 4 by 8 1/4. 4 by 8 1/4. All right. So I've got my 4 inch wide. Now I'm going to do my 8 1/4. And you'll see what I'm saying. I'm cutting 3 at a time. See, it goes quick that way. Then I'm just going to stack them together. There's 2. There's 2, and there's 2. That way I've got my booklet covers ready.
Sounds familiar.
All right, let me show you this. The corners of these signatures are rounded. You see that? And then they're angled over here. I didn't want to worry about the angle. That's why I made the paper stop here. But I do want to mimic this round. And it's on the top and the bottom. Now here's the thing, and you got to pay attention for this to make sense. If you pick up the 2 pages that you want to cover this signature with, and you just put them together, and you corner round, it's not going to be right because this one has to flip this way. Did that make sense? This one has to flip this way, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take your 2 pieces that are going to cover this signature and flip them where they're a book. You see what I'm saying? So, like that. Then corner around your corners. And if you use the 1/4 inch, not the half, but the 1/4, it's exactly what you want. So you see why I did that, right? Okay, so you see what I did. I've got this one rounded and this one rounded. And because I flipped this correctly, now the correct corners are rounded. So you do want to do that. Pay attention to your corners. And if you didn't use same paper, you really want to pay attention because you might have some orientation issues, okay? Once you do that, you can just glue these straight on. So I'm going to glue my top one on so you can see how this looks. I'm just going to glue this, and remember, it's going to go to the edge that's rounded, but it's going to end at the angle cut on the spine. It's going to end there, and that's on purpose. Okay, I'm going to flip that over and put this one on the back. And again, because I flipped it correctly, my corners are right. But if it's not, then just let it be calico. Just give it a different color. Just use the other side. It won't really matter. The reason and some people might like that look, but the reason I wanted my books to be the same front and back, because I felt like over time I might get kind of comfortable knowing this is a certain book. Like when I see this, I'll pick it up. So if I wanted my address book, I would know that's my address book. So if I had 2 different sides, it would be confusing for me. So there's one. And remember, we're covering every signature. It does not matter. I'm going to take these guys. I'm going to put them together like this. Do my 1/4. 1/4. Then I'm going to glue this down. We're going to be covering this panel. I just thought it needed something, right? So we're going to cover this panel. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the cardstock first, then go back and do the angle. So do not think about the angle just yet. Just do it just do the steps I tell you to do, okay? So you're going to need 6 pieces. I'm going to do it just like I did these and just pick a piece and get 2 from one. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to need 6 pieces. Those 6 pieces need to be 3 1/2 by 6 3/4. And again, I'm stacking mine on top of each other because that's just easier for me. All right, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 3 1/2. That's 3, and I need 3 more. 3 1/2. Then I just need to cut those down to 6 3/4, and then I'll have my pages. Okay, we have to make a mark up here, 3/4 of an inch in, and then we have to make a mark down here, 2 1/4 inch up. Let me show you, okay? I'm going to use my grid mat. You can use a ruler if you need to. I'm going to put this on my mat here, and I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to make a little mark, just like this. Don't overstress this, just 3/4 of an inch in, okay? Then from the bottom right, I'm going to go up 2 1/4 and make a mark. So I'm going to go 1, 2 1/4, and my mark needs to go right here. As long as you can see your mark, that's all that matters. And you only have to do this once because we're going to make it once and then mimic it for everything else. Okay? So once you have your marks, you're going to do your cross cut. So I've got my 3/4 of an inch here, my 2 1/4 here. I'm going to lay that into my trimmer like so. And I'm going to put the top mark here on my cut line and the bottom mark here on my cut line. Making sense? I'm going to sink my blade into the middle and I'm going to go up and down. And this will do this. And that's what we're looking for. Okay? Don't get froggy. Don't start cutting. I got to show you something else. Okay? So that's what we're looking for. Now, either of these pieces can now be your template. You can use this as your template or this. This is that same situation we ran into with the fronts and the backs of the book. If you want the green ledger to be this pocket as well as this pocket, you're going to have to cut your template correctly. Okay? That means you cannot cut this template this way because it'll be wrong. You'll have to flip it and cut it this way so that it's right. Okay? So I'll show you what I mean because I'll let mine both be ledger. I'm going to use my big piece for my template. And what I did is I just held it, put this guy into the trimmer and lined it up. Let me get that lined up better. Put that into the trimmer like so and cut. You can pencil line if you want, whatever you need to do. I just did mine like this. And now I end up with the correct pieces. See, they're correct. Now, if you want to do that easier, do this. I want my birds to be correct. I put them together. In fabric world, this is called right sides together. So you put right sides together, okay? Then I'm going to use this as my template. Do y'all know what that means? In fabric, you have a right and a wrong side. In paper, we have an A and a B side, right? So if you're, and then you'll see, if I move this, you'll see that these are now correct. So these don't cover the entire pocket. These are matted. So you can see here where my hand is, there's a little bit of the craft showing. I did that on purpose. These don't cover the whole thing. They're like a first mat situation. We're going to do now some super fun stuff. We're going to do this part. Remember you pulled a piece of paper out to be your cover so we wouldn't accidentally cut it? Aren't you glad we did that now? We're going to use this and we're going to get this piece and this piece. It's just these two pieces, okay? 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. Don't worry about your spine yet. 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. You need 1, 2, okay? So cut that real quick. 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. What I did on this one is I went ahead and cut the 8 1/4 first, and then I cut it to 4 1/4. So watch. I did 8 1/4 first, like so. And then I did 4 1/4 and 4 1/4. And you guessed it, if you want this to lay correctly, right? If you want your pages to lay correctly and you're going to punch them at the same time, you need to put right sides together. If you're going to do them individually, that's fine. And this one is still a 1/4 of an inch. You might think you need to size up, but you really don't. It's still the 1/4 of an inch punch. So I put my right sides together and I punch them. And now they're going to be what lives here on my album. Okay. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and cut that spine so we can have them ready. So I'm just going to sit this aside. And this spine piece, I want to talk to you for a second. You have these little elastic pieces, and I just didn't want to deal with those. And I also kind of like the way they look. They look kind of like ephemera, like we've added something, okay? So I cut my piece a little short. So this piece laying here, not this little piece, this is from your chipboard pieces, but this piece underneath here is 1 1/2 by 7. And you can use anything for this. You could, like I use this plaid for my covers, you could flip this over and use this, and that's what I'm going to do, and just use a piece of the scrap from that. Or you can dig into your scraps and use any one you want to use. But all you need is one piece for this, 1 1/2 by 7. So I'm just going to cut this down to 1 1/2. And then to 7. And then I'm gonna glue it on. None of this is gonna slow you down, but I do have to show you something. Do you want me to tell them the story of this?
But also, while you're gluing it on, if your paper is oriented in a certain way, like you're using birds, make sure your book is right side up so you don't glue your birds on upside down.
Pay attention to your pockets. Your
Helping
pockets are down here.
out.
Yeah, because I would not have told you. Your pockets are down here. So when you flip this over, you're gonna want your little ribbon on this side, your little elastic. But here's what's funny. So the day I was working on this, building my sample for this, or building the project, Tamitha was with me. We were sitting here talking about stuff, and I'm working on this, and I spent 20 minutes trying to untie this knot, only to realize all you have to do is that you just pull it straight out. I literally had a pokey tool doing this, and I was like, Tamitha, this is going to take up half my class trying to untie this knot. And then I went, Tamitha, and I pulled out, and we both laughed. We thought it was funny. So pull your little this little piece out. You don't need it right now. Sit it to the side. We're going to put it back in, but we don't need it for this process. I'm going to sit it to the side. I'm going to turn this over. So your grommet should be over here. Okay, if we're doing it right, if we're doing it correctly. So I'm going to take,
if we're doing it right,
if we're doing it correctly, I'm going to take my spine piece and glue it down to the middle. And remember, you just kind of sink it. So I'm just centering a piece there for my spine. And then I'm going to take my cover pieces and just glue them straight down. Again, these have a craft colored edge. These are matted in. You see that? So we have the edge going around. These don't cover all the way to the edge. I like the craft, and I thought it would be sturdier not to have paper going to the edge with that elastic band going around over and over. I like the cardstock, the chipboard being there rather than the paper. I have to tell y'all this. On this side, you're going to glue this down. Don't stress about it. Glue it down on top of that grommet. Just trust me. Just glue it down. Okay? Cover your grommet. It's perfectly fine. Rub this down. And what we're going to do is just poke a hole. Take your pokey tool, and where that grommet is, you're just going to poke that center hole out and roll it around like that. Okay? I'm not trying to find that. I'm not trying to uncover that grommet. That is too much work. Then what we did is we took our bead threader. So you have to thread it from the underneath. You're going to go this way. Yeah. And then you want to put the loop into the loop and pull it through. That way your knot ends up where it's supposed to be. Your knot should be on the inside. Now when you come back, if your paper does like mine did and it lifted up a little bit, you can add a little glue there and press that down. But honestly, none of that is going to show. It's perfectly fine. It's so easy to do that. I love how that turns out. Okay, here's what I want to show you on this one, why this is a little different. So this pocket was more than I wanted to deal with. I didn't want to have to deal with that half circle cut right there. So what I did was I made this piece to cover the bottom, and then I did kind of like a faux napkin. You know how men's suiting has a faux handkerchief? That's kind of what we're doing up here, okay? So I'm going to show you how I did this. The first thing I did was I took my 4 by 2.5 pieces, and I rounded the corners of those. So I'm going to just stay with the 1/4 of an inch. You can change it if you want to. It won't really matter. But I'm just going to go around and round the corners to 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And these 2 pieces just get glued straight down onto the pocket. I'm not making a pocket out of them because we have a pocket. So these get glued straight down. And I'll do that in a second. This piece is going to be my faux napkin, right? So I only want to round the top corners here. I don't need to worry about the bottom. They're going to be hidden. So I'm going to round the top here. Now, I did it deeper on my first one. I did them 1/2 inch, but I'm only doing that 1/4 of an inch here. So these pieces get glue on the back. And you slide this under the pocket just until that thumb piece is hidden. See, I'm just kind of, it looks like we've got paper in there. All right, and then I'm going to glue this down. Again, just directly down. Just like so. It needed something. It was a little flat, and I didn't want to have to fight and get all those measurements, and then you'd have to have a certain punch to make that half, or a certain die, and this is just perfect. So for the decorating of the album, it's super easy. The only thing I've already done is add this little piece that is from my chipboard pieces. Let's get some stickers and some ephemera. Now I'm going to decorate this one a little bit different than I did my first one, but don't worry, I'll show you those as we go. So check this out. This is the one I used the first time, but I want to try to do something different on this one. I saw somebody use these poinsettias on the front, and they were gorgeous, and I think they look really pretty right here. The only thing you need to be cautious about
is your strap. Now this strap can go across the book like this, or it can go across this way. So you just want to decide, you know, when you're putting your pieces down, how you want that to go. I think I'm gonna put this one up here like so. I love the stickers, it makes life easy. And I think I'm gonna overlap a little bit with this guy, something like, when I find it, I'll know it, right? I like to twist and turn until I know. I think I like that green to the side, so let's do that one. You could have popped that up. I'm not big on popping up on the cover because of it going in and out of things, so I don't really want to do that. Like if I put it in my backpack or if I put it in my purse or whatever, I don't want that to happen. Let's see what we want to put down here. If anything, I may not see anything I want to put down here. Looking at stickers first, let's go to ephemera. This stuff is so good. So I decided to have a little play around. I went to the sticker. I did look in the ephemera. You can see it sitting here, but I decided to save that for the inside. But I think I'm gonna have a little play around here and use a piece of this along the plaid line. Let me cut away what I don't need here. Like so. And I'm not gonna put it on the back. Y'all know me, I'm not much on decorating the back because I think it gets wasted. I'd rather save that for where I want it to show. And now there's this little doodle bug. We call these doodle bugs. What do y'all call these? Volkswagens? Doodle bugs? That's what we call them. I'm gonna put that little doodle bug there, but he's kind of blending in a little bit. Let me see if there's something I can put behind him to make him really pop off. I know these wouldn't really be together in nature, but that will help this pop off a little bit. And now you can see it a little better, and it's cute, right? I like that little look right there. So there's a little something there. On the inside, I'm gonna pull this elastic out so I have a little room to work. Let me show you what I did. And I'm gonna do it just like I did it. It is so easy. You just take some of these guys, these little like lists, and I just glued them around like so. I didn't even use this one in my first one, but I like it. So let me show you. I'm gonna glue these down. I just think they're cute, and you can use them if you want to use them for anything, or they can just be for looks. Either way, they are super cute. And every time I've used this, I forget I have this washi tape, so I want to try to use it today. Got to find the end of it. It's blended in. I'm feeling it with my finger. There it is. Wow, that was really blended in. Okay, so I'm going to use some washi, and I think where I want to put it is on either side of this, but I want to tear it. I think I want the tear. No, I don't want that tear to show, so I'm going to place it like this, just to put a little something here. I think that's cute, and I'll cut that little edge off. Pick that little guy up. That's just a little, I don't know if I even really like it. I think it's a little busy. I think I'm gonna take that off. I don't love that one so much. Isn't that funny? We have to test and see. That's not my favorite there, but I do think I'll use it somewhere in the book, just not there. Okay, so that is the inside. You could add more, and I might come back and add more, but that's the inside. Let's look at the little signatures. So when you are decorating these, something you want to think about is what's inside, right? I think this is kind of key for this. So let me show you what I did. In the ephemera pack, you get these little guys. Let me pick them all up. There's a bunch of them. When I say a bunch, there's 7 of them. They're little days of the week pieces. I don't really think I would use these anywhere inside my calendar, but I thought they would be cute to use here because they'll remind me this is a calendar. Now, when I made my first one, I made a mistake, and that mistake was I started with Sunday and glued it here first. We're going to start down at the bottom and work our way up. So I'm just putting these on so whenever I glance at this little signature, I can tell by a glance that this is my calendar signature, if that makes sense. I just thought this was cute. I may write something on here. Maybe there's some special birthdays or something that happen on Saturday, Sunday, you know, obviously they happen one of the days of the week, but maybe I want to like write one of those down. But what I'm doing is going to work my way up the page so that all my little calendar pieces fit Saturday, Friday, and work my way up. So now the little calendar's on there and it fits correctly. Like I said in my first one, I had to cut this guy off and it was kind of funny. Okay, so let me show you how I did the rest of this. I just used stickers. Well, stickers and ephemera. These little packages were cute. And since this is kind of my gift guide, where I'm going to do my gift shopping, I thought it'd be cute to put the little packages on. So just sticking them down. And just stickers. So easy, right? Love it. And since I didn't use this sticker on the other one, I'm going to use it here because I love this sticker. I like looking at it. So that is my signature decorate, or this signature decorated on the outside. Now on the inside, I put a piece of paper and a little cut apart. I'll show you that too. So for this piece, it is 3 3/4 by 8 1/4. And you guessed it, we're going to corner round. I'm going to use the same 1/4 inch rounder, just like this on the corners. And then I'm going to glue it straight down. Now, something I want to tell you is I did not cut this piece so wide that it goes into the binder of the book. And you'll see what I mean. I went a little shy of the binding so that it didn't bulk my book. So I'm going to line this up to the outside edge of the page, like so. I'm really loving this red check, obviously. And see how I left that gap? I did that on purpose. I don't want to bulk this in any way. It's already going to bulk up over time, but I don't want to add anything in here. A lot like I do my composition books. And then this little guy is so cute right here. So I'm going to glue this down. This is just a cut apart from your paper. You have so much in this book. I think you could do 2 of these books. If you wanted to give one as a gift, I think you could totally make one for you and make one for them out of this one paper pack. So there's that. And then if you want to, you can go back and stick some stickers on. Like this is one of my favorite stickers. It looks like a, what are they called? Bullnose clip? Paper clip? I don't remember what they're called, but I think this is cute. I'm not even going to use it square. I'm just going to put it at an angle as if it would really work that way. And that is all I did to my signatures. And the reason is because as I go, I feel like I will add more over time. So I told you guys I put these gifts here because it was my shopping list. Duh. No, it's not. But I did put these gifts here on my first one too. This is my shopping list. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, let's look at stickers, see if we can start there. So for this one, I'm going to try this. Actually, I made it. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I was thinking that I had these in chipboard, but I don't. I have the word Mary here done in stickers. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to go Mary across the top. I did not measure. So if this doesn't work, I might be sad. But look, if you have a little space left, you can add a sticker. If you don't have space left, then you fit, right? We said earlier in one of our classes, if you're doing it right, you're right. So there you go. If it's right, it's right. Look, it turned out okay. So Mary, and then I want to do December. And these are from the chipboard stickers. So Merry December. I think that'll be cute. Then I can still add more to the bottom. All right, my C doesn't quite fit, so let's move this all over. I did not press super hard. I will press once I get them where I definitely want them. So let's move this guy over so everything fits. Stick that one. Now I'll press it. Pick this guy up, put the E in. I'm using the lines of the page to try to help me be pretty straight. The circles are a little harder, but I still have that line in the middle of it. Look, Merry December. That's cute. I like that. Okay, and then let's put maybe Santa? Maybe Santa on here? This is a cute Santa. Let's do something like this. Santa like that. And then maybe something that goes across. Let's see. This will be cute. Let's do ho, 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 like he's saying it. So that is another signature done. They're just fun. They're just, you know, silly and fun and just for you to look at. Here is another one. Let's see what we can put on it. So there's the 3 fronts of my signatures. Let's put them in the book and see how they look. Now, I put mine like this. I like my calendar first, I like my shopping list second, and then I like my addresses third. So that's how they're going to go in the book. So we bring this back over. And I'm going to open the cover of the first signature, lift that elastic, and put it in place. And what I love about this is how easy this is to take in and out to go into stores. Isn't it awesome? Okay, the other thing I want to tell you, this middle section has 2 elastics. I don't put them both in. I found it added bulk to the book when I did, so I just pick up one of those elastics, and I pick the one that doesn't have the knot because I think it does better for the book. So I put that one in, and then our last book. Now, I haven't done my addresses. Remember, you do that with the stamp set. That'll go in here. This is pretty much where I stop. Let's put our little elastic band back on. So all you do now is you pile up all of your leftovers from your paper pack, and you want to hold on to those because as you're putting stuff in your book, you'll use them to decorate more here and there. You just never know what you might want to add and where. So let's close this little guy up, and I'll bring my other one over. We'll do a walkthrough of it as well. Look how stinking cute and easy. So you can see kind of the differences. Since we just did this one, I'll move it, and we'll do a walkthrough of this one in case this is one you really like. So there's the front. We open it up. You see it's very similar to what we just did. And here's my little counter. You see where I had to cut the Saturday off, so we move it up to make it work. There's all the decorations there. And then if I go that first page, there's the wish list that we stuck in just then. Here is one of my fronts of my signatures in this one. And then here's one of the fronts of the signature in there. And then you can see the back. Super easy, fun project. These guys come in craft and black. We got a bunch in last week, and a lot of them sold out. I think there's some craft this color left. They'll be coming back. I'm going to keep these all year. I think we can use them all the time for all different things. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my holiday planner for 2021, and I'm loving it. All right, guys, remember, if you make this, I want to see it. Head to our customer gallery and post photos of yours. And if you were in our class, please flood the gallery with what you did because everybody's is so different, and everybody would love to see all the different work. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, bye now.